Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. Guys, today on the channel I'm very excited because we are going to be reviewing what I think is the ultimate preparedness survival tool. So let's get to it. I've been on a quest. I've searched high and low from the mountains of Tibet, consulting with old wise men with their parables. I've been to Scandinavian blacksmiths. I've fought dragons. I've been sent on quests. And as a reward, I was gifted this work of art. Actually, I bought it from a distributor. We're going to be selling it at CanadianPreparedness.com. But guys, this is the most mint of multi-tool shovels. And I'm so excited about it. I mean, I'm ecstatic right now. It's very seldom that I get a product that actually exceeds my expectations nowadays. The thing that sets this shovel apart is the build quality and the attention to detail. You're not gonna find on any other shovel like this, I guarantee you. They've pretty much thought of everything with this design, and the great thing about these anodized aluminum shovels is that they tend to be hollow. So you can actually build your own survival kit inside a shovel. This is made of a 3CR13 stainless steel. It has a high percentage of chromium, so it's got really good corrosion resistance. This type of steel it's understood to be a cheaper steel, but it's kind of like a cheap but good enough and better than average. Definitely better than a lot of the types of steel that are typically used in these types of shovels. Not only is it going to hold a good edge, but you can actually get it pretty sharp as well. It's tough, it's hard, you can beat the crap out of this thing. I asked a couple of my guys to go back there and beat the living crap out of this thing until it broke, and that's exactly what they did. They finally broke it, but guess what? It's still functional. I'm gonna tell you the reasons why in just a minute. Now the actual shovel, some of the distinguishing features of it is that, like I said, you could put a very good edge and you can actually use this as an axe for chopping. I've tried many of these shovels for that purpose, and you aren't able to do it for a variety of reasons. For one, you want a shovel that has a big head like this. That's what she said. I mean, I couldn't help myself. But another great thing about this is that there's this wrench, okay? And this wrench is made to fit on any part of the shaft. And so there's many different junction points here that need to be tightened. So you have a smaller one for the inner parts, and then you have a larger wrench that you're gonna use to tighten the other parts. And why that's so important is that with a lot of these shovels, even if you tighten it, what you think is really difficult, when you start using this thing for chopping or digging, it tends to still get loose. So that allows you to really torque it good. There's a pretty nice serrated edge on here. You also have a seatbelt cutter, which is actually functional and sharp. So these hex spanners here are kind of gimmicky. That's probably the only gimmicky thing on this shovel. And the reason why they're gimmicky is there's very few situations where there's going to be a bolt that allows you to use this. You really don't get much maneuverability with a giant thing like this. But above and beyond that, every single thing on this thing is absolutely mint, even the grips. And because it is modular, you can actually move the grips around. As you can see, this is the one that we've been torture testing, still looks like new, and this is the one that I have spread out here. So let's go inside the shovel and let's see exactly what we get. As you can see, there's a bunch of component pieces. Now, like I said, you can fit a variety of different survival trinkets in here. Some ideas with respect to how you can build out a survival kit in here, and I'm gonna make that its own video, but you can put things like toilet paper tablets, which will fit in there. You can put cordage, you can put your medications and some first aid supplies. You can put a little mini roll of duct tape in there. You can also put some aqua tabs or water purification tablets. You can even roll up a Mylar survival blanket and stick it in the tube so you have your shelter. So really you could have all of your bases covered, and there's actually a lot of real estate inside here. So this is a 6-stage modular system with a variety of different tools inside. So we have 3 larger tubes, then we have 1 junction with threading on both sides, and then we have the tip, which also has a glass breaker on it. So we have our glass breaker, we have our compass, we have a fully functional screwdriver, we have a ferrocerium rod, we have our wrench tool that also doubles as a hex tool, we have our shovel head, which has the serrated edge, the chopping edge, a variety of different wrenches, a wire stripper, a seatbelt cutter, a can opener, and a few other things. Of course, we have our very, very nice knife as far as these kits go. And we also have our saw. Now, right out the gates, I want to say that the way you know that you got a good quality multi-purpose shovel is the knife and the saw quality. And this by far is the best quality knife that I've ever seen on a multi-purpose shovel. And there are several reasons for that. One of the reasons is that typically the tang of these knives isn't more than 1/2 centimeter. It usually just screws into the top of something, and they're very easy to break off. This one, I'm not sure if you can see it, but the tang goes almost all the way through. You almost get 1 inch of tang, which is a lot for a knife like this. Now that's not full tang. And you could make the argument that it would be better if they did that. Of course, that would add a lot of weight. But this is very, very impressive. And it's actually got 2 screws that it's mounted onto this threading to. And the same thing goes with the saw. Now, this is made out of the same grade of corrosion-resistant stainless steel. And I can tell you, this saw is very impressive. It is very sharp. And it's almost on the same level, not quite as good because it's bidirectional, as a Silky Saw. Silky Saws have a patented design. It's not going to be as good as that, but I've never seen a saw on a multi-tool this good before. The only thing you're going to want to be mindful of is just make sure you're not bowing it and you're keeping the cut straight. Obviously, you're not going to use it like this. You're going to stick it into here, just like so. And if you want, of course, you could stick it onto here and then you would have that rubberized grip. So if you want, you can just use it like that. If you want more telescoping, so if you have to reach to a higher place, you can extend it and you can keep extending. You could extend it further. Like if there's a branch way up there that you have to get, the one thing you're gonna have to be mindful of is the longer you go, the harder it is going to be able to control that saw, and then you could risk bending it. But because it's so thick, it is resistant to that sort of abuse. Like it'll bend, but it won't break. There's gonna be a lot of people, oh, it's bending a bit, but you gotta understand, like I've used a lot of these tools and most of them suck ass. You also get a really nice compass on there that's fully functional, and I can tell you it works. It's got a glass breaker on the back. If you've used a glass breaking tool before, it's gonna be very easy because of course, you know, you have all the weight behind it. It is 6 pounds. I see that as weight is quality. But if you wanted to trim this down and let's say you just wanted to take out the shovel and you didn't want to take all this, you'd probably trim off 3 or 4 pounds. So you get a decent sized ferrocerium rod. You're gonna get hundreds of fires off this if you use it properly. Scrape a little bit off first onto your tinder and then start igniting. Don't just kind of waste it. So the whistle's actually pretty loud. I'm not sure how many decibels. I'll have to get one of the communists to stand right next to it and we'll do a little test. How long to make a communist's ears bleed? I know some of you guys will love that. Well, I've lost my hearing for the day. It's got some decent knurling on there, so even if you damage your rubberized grip, it's still gonna be grippy enough. It's not aggressively gritty, but good enough so that you can grab it. So you can use the more minimalist sheath that has 2 pockets for your accessories. There's a D-ring on the back to hang it, or you can mount it via the MOLLE webbing. Or you can just use this case they provide you, which is a fully functional case. They give you enough room in this pouch to add a variety of different other tools that this in itself is a full survival kit. You can see this plating on the back here to reinforce. This whole system here, this whole assembly is incredibly durable. Like, you get this really thick washer, and you can adjust it. So if you want to use that as a hoe, you can actually use this as a grappling hook. Sounds crazy, but you can see the angle it allows you to rest on like that. And this thing will support your weight. I'm not recommending that you try this, but if you were in a situation where you had to escape and evade, that could serve some useful functionality. The whole configuration, as well as a scrambling tool. I used to do a bit of mountain climbing, and as a scrambling tool, like as a pickaxe almost, you know, you can use that when you're going up a very steep incline. I think this is an excellent platform, because what I could foresee this company doing is making different modules. So let's say you didn't want an axe, but you wanted a flashlight. So they could make a flashlight that's screwed in there instead. You could add some cases that screw inside here to hold small fishing kits or medications or water purification tablets. You could have a flashlight module. You could have just offer extra modules. You could maybe offer different types of knives, maybe a spearhead as opposed to, you know, just this knife, which you could use as a spear. That's the other thing, is you can use this as a frickin' spear. I mean, if we're talking about zombie apocalypse, the #1 melee weapon is gonna be a spear. Never mind an axe or a sword, you wanna keep your distance from those suckers. And because it's such a heavy duty steel, and we got that decent amount of tang, you know, that's gonna be very durable. I think a great thing they could have offered, and they probably still could do this, but have a system by which you can make a T handle or even a D handle. But just for ergonomics, you're gonna be reliant on the kickers mostly. So a T handle, like on this saw here, and they could maybe have a way in which it unscrewed and stuck inside or something like that. So this is just a different shovel. There's plenty of other shovels out there on the market, guys, but I'm telling you right now, you are not gonna find one that is as good as this. So it's just a really, really good platform, and everything is very well machined. And like I say, they thought of everything. So you can put this into that receiver, and it's even magnetized. Typically with these multi-tools, you'll get one of these and it falls out and you have to kind of hold it in there and do that. This is magnetized. I mean, that level of detail. They even got O-rings on here, okay, to ensure that if you want to waterproof the contents inside, prevent any corrosion. The paint job is mint. Like, it's just a really, really good tool. Like, let's say you don't want to take this part of the shovel out for a day. Well, you can just do this, okay? So you can just have a smaller version of the shovel, maybe have a few survival tools, and you can just use it, you know, as a short staffed shovel. Or if you want, you know, you could add in another section and add in another section and so on and so forth. So it's just like the perfect platform. Like, it's really, really good concept. That terminology, versatility, it's one of the most overused words in gear reviews. But this is one case where it's much deserved. Now, I should talk about how we broke it. Well, one of the guys took a whack at it, and they were prying on it, they were reefing on it, they were busting up boards. And understand, I sent them on a mission to break it. But the only thing that broke was this threading. That sucks, and it's a failure, of course, with our very, very overly aggressive testing that, you know, you would never actually do in the real world. The thing is, it still works, fully functional, even with this broken module. And all we have to do to rectify the problem is simply take her down. It's just a little bit shorter, and everything else on it still works, with the exception of this piece right here, which is basically the handle for your screwdriver, okay? And it's still gonna work, but obviously not as good. Some people look at, okay, what is the cheapest option? At the stage I am at with preparedness, I look at what's the most expensive option, and then I usually kind of go backwards, because I'm trying to figure out what is built to last and what's built to be a gimmick. I'm not saying that the cheaper versions of these shovels are not going to be very functional. I reviewed one probably 6 or 7 years ago on the channel, and that shovel is tough. It's a tough shovel. I mean, it's a piece of metal, right? It doesn't get much more complicated than that. Said you can find hundreds of these different things on Amazon, but you'll only find one like this, and that's the only reason why we stock this one at CanadianPreparedness.com. There are plenty of options out there for everybody, okay? You can spend 20 bucks or you can spend 200 bucks. If you want the best, go check out the SRM shovel at CanadianPreparedness.com. Use coupon code PreppingGear. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PreppingGear for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.